Hey guys, thanks for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be doing some coloring, a little chatting. I have been working on this Lana Green page for about a week or so now. I do have a video up already coloring her skin. I did a speed coloring with some lo-fi music. I had asked if you guys would like to see a part 2 coloring the flowers and the hair. A few of you guys said yeah, you would like to see the coloring the flowers. I am not the best at coloring flowers. A lot of times I won't even, like, I'll start a page, I'll do the skin and the hair, and then I lose interest and I start something else because I get fed up with myself coloring the flowers because it's just very repetitive to me. So I thought maybe if I do a video, maybe I will actually finish this page. I really want to finish it. I have been using my Arrtx colored pencils. I just got the 126 set. I did get them sent to me by Arrtx, and I do have a little short review up on those up on my channel as well. So we're not going to do the hair in this video. I think I'm going to save that for another video. This one little flower took me about a day and a half to color, so I think we're just gonna probably be working on this flower. Maybe we'll get to this flower. I am probably gonna speed it up a little bit and do a voiceover. I thought we would talk about some pigments, some different colors. I do a series. I have a playlist if you want to check it out on different colors. And, usually I'm like, what am I going to talk about and color at the same time? So I thought maybe we would learn a little bit about these two colors in particular, or not necessarily even the colors, just the pigments in general. This is quinacridone violet I'm using, and a where's the other one? And this one is called Perylene violet. So I thought we would talk about the pigments Perylene and quinacridone in this video, and pigments just kind of in general. We talk a little bit about, just to make it a little bit more interesting while we're just watching me color these flowers. I will probably speed it up in some parts, probably most of the parts. So it's going to be mostly voiceover and a little bit of music in this video. So if you're not into that, that's just a fair warning. In addition to those two violets, I'm going to be using rose red and blush pink, peach puff, and then maybe white might come in. I might use the white as a blender. So that's the plan for today. So let's get started. Quinacridone colors are a special family of hues with distinct values. They include a mix of transparency and vibrancy that aren't seen in most other shades. You can mix and match them, layer them, and combine them with other mediums. Quinacridone pigments are composed of two pairs of oxygen and nitrogen atoms grouped in sets of 5 rings of carbon linked together. This is where the quin part of the name comes from, meaning consisting of 5 parts or things. Think of 5 baby quintuplets, for example. From this basic structure, scientists can vary the chemical composition to modify the colors. The quinacridone pigment colors range between purple and orange, but the ones most commonly used are in the pinkish and reddish color range. The hue is determined by the pigment particle size, as well as a small difference in the crystalline structure of the pigment molecules. For example, a lattice structure produces a pink-red color, and a more linear structure makes a color that leans more towards orange. The first company to produce these colors outside of the automotive industry was Daniel Smith. The watercolor paint-making company saw incredible potential with the quinacridone shades in glazing and layering art projects. Every company has its own colors, but in general you can find shades like quinacridone red, rose or pink, purple or violet, burnt sienna and raw sienna, burnt orange, burnt scarlet, coral, magenta or fuchsia, lilac, and gold or deep gold. Quinacridone Gold P049 was a color that had an extremely loyal following in the artist community, but was discontinued by manufacturers presumably when the automotive and other industry demand for them had become too low. Manufacturers originally developed quinacridones for the car industry. They became so popular that they rolled over into other sectors. These pigments are modern and synthetically created in labs, but have been studied since 1896. Until 1955, the actual quinacridone pigments weren't useful until a researcher at DuPont began marketing them to automobile manufacturers. Starting in 1958, the quinacridone family of colors made its public debut as car paints. Quinacridone colors were quickly adopted by artists of the abstract expressionist movement, who loved the intense colors. Alright, so now we're going to move on to perylene colors or pigments. The perylene family is a relatively new group of pigments. The first perylene was discovered in 1912 when they were used as vat dyes, but didn't really become popular until the 1950s. Even then, they were not widely seen and only became a part of the artist community in the 1980s. Even today, their position is not as prominent as other families such as the cadmiums or quinacridones. The perylene colors available are scarlets, reds, dark maroons, and a very dark green bordering it looks almost black. Perylene is a mid-valued, non-toxic pigment. It has finely divided particles, which gives it transparency and makes it staining. Most pigments come from either the automotive or beauty industry. Perylene, just like the quinacridones, are also widely used in the automotive industry, and if that industry quits using a color, so will the watercolor and other art material manufacturers once stockpiles run out, since they make up far too small of a market to influence the pigment manufacturers. The automotive industry is the chief consumer for pigments, and after that, the next market is coatings for household and industrial goods, like washing machine manufacturers, although some pigments will get discontinued for other reasons like toxicity. For example, manganese blue PB33 was discontinued in the 1990s due to the tightening of environmental regulations. Until the 20th century, lead white was the most popular white pigment on the market and was used by many artists. Before the availability of paint tubes, painters had to grind pigments themselves or purchase them in powdered form, creating the conditions for toxic pigments to be inhaled. For centuries, contemporary commentators observed a set of mysterious symptoms affecting painters both mentally and physically, which came to be known as painter's colic. We now recognize these symptoms as having largely been the effects of lead poisoning. Lead-based paints were banned for residential use in 1978 in the US. Homes built in the US before 1978 are still likely to have some lead-based paint. Some pigments, however, are very rare or hard to find due to scarcity or expense. These include genuine Tyrrhene purple due to the amount of a particular type of sea snail that needs to be crushed in order to produce the color. By some accounts, it could take as many as 250,000 snails to produce just one single tablespoon of dye. Currently, there are shortages of highly demanded blue pigments like Indian throne blue and ultramarine blue, as well as some other blue pigments, which some insiders are saying has created complete chaos in the industry. To make paint, you need between 50 and 60 ingredients. Some additives have become difficult to get. This, combined with other supply chain issues, have caused the cost of raw materials and other additives to increase greatly, leading some brands to be forced to find cheaper alternatives or raise prices. So that's why sometimes you might see your favorite colored art supply or makeup item get changed slightly or get discontinued. I will leave the links that I've sourced for this video down below in the description box if you'd like to read a little bit more about the pigments we talked about today. Plus, I'll also leave you some links to articles about the current paint shortage that's going on right now. Hopefully I'll get these flowers done. I'm going to color them off camera since it's basically just the same thing over and over again. And maybe next week we'll tackle the hair. We'll do a hair video. And I hope to see you then. And I hope you guys all have a really great day. Happy coloring, and I'll see you next time.